Truth, logic, action, power. It's the GreggHoush Show here on New Revolutionary Radio. From the Leonard School in Malden, Massachusetts, Gregg and company are here to bring a sense of ethics to your news. Whether it's politics, activism, or current events, we always seek to inform and never to deceive. Let's start the show.
Good evening and welcome to episode 23 of the GreggHoush Show.
Me.
Look at us here.
Like specifically me.
I'm GreggHoush and this is my co-host Kayla Avery.
Oh, you didn't say it right.
She's wonderful.
Yay!
And my other co-host, Mac.
The Mac Daddy, the back in Mac. He's the big Mac. He's spectacular. He's back. He's Mac. He's the Mac truck coming your way.
Every time you say spectacular, I think of,
that
medical devices.
not really.
Okay, well, you guys need to get your head out of the gutter because it's a great pun. I'm going to say it forever now.
So we have all kinds of fun stuff to talk about tonight. We've got, of course, Trump, as always, but we've got...
we've got a lot of hellfires.
We've got hell, Michigan.
Hell, we've got fires, we've got water, we've got floods, we've got war. We've got it all,
saying
guys.
They kill black people. We've got Joe Arpaio. I mean, this is just amazing.
Pick your hell, and it's
Turns
coming
out
to
the
life.
FCC website tells you that Ajit Pai is a cuck. So that's always good.
A filthy, spineless cuck.
Yes. All right, so let's start off with a little lighter fare than normal.
Speaking of hell.
Yes.
The mayor of Hell, Michigan has...
okay, first of all, real place.
Real place. There are multiple hells in America. There's Hell, Texas. There's Hell, Michigan.
Really?
There's
I didn't know.
And Hell, Texas is actually in the Panhandle, so it's like blazing hot and almost unbearable.
Well, I just kind of assume all Texas is hell, but that's just my Yankee self.
The best part about Hell, Texas is one of its neighbor cities is Earth. And so you can be driving down the highway and you'll see a sign that literally says Earth 20 miles, Hell 30 miles or something like that. It's just a great sign.
I mean, and then you've got Lubbock, where I was for a brief moment of my life that I've tried
Only
to...
unofficially called hell.
No. When the wind blows from the north, it's manure hell.
Yeah. So there's a Hell, Michigan, and the mayor on the 30th decided to ban all of, and I quote, the straights, all the heterosexual people from coming into the city.
I think he called them breeders too, right?
Oh yeah.
He said that they were coming in, procreating, having more straight children to take our rightfully gay jobs.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And he said, quote, I love straights, but my number one priority is the safety of my town. Until the heterosexual threat has been reviewed, we cannot allow them to enter.
I mean, to be fair, he's not wrong.
He is not wrong. He also said that he had been told his whole life that gay people were going to hell, and that here he was in hell, and now the heterosexuals are trying to take hell from them too.
I know. I mean, straight people.
I think it's hilarious because he was also impeached right after making this wonderful decree.
To be fair, he was only the acting mayor, as Hell, Michigan has been running a mayor for a day attraction where you can pay $100 to be mayor for 24 hours, and this was just a comedian who'd done that.
Yeah, but you could be
I
a mayor
his use
in
of
hell.
his time.
That is awesome, and I 100% support it.
I like the use of the time.
Yes.
That's the right kind of
Very
decree.
But he
efficient.
also, in his impeachment resignation letter, he did say that he was working, he's going to devote all of his time now to his 2020 run. So
Yes.
I think there's some good things coming.
And that
He
a
also
mayoral
was
impeachment does not keep you from running for president.
He was also tweeting that he plans to seek the highest political office he can. He thinks he can make it to governor.
I think so. I mean, look, if anything, if I knew something about the gays, they get what they want.
This country has a long history of giving them everything they ever asked for.
Well, I mean, they've always fought for it, but I mean, have you been on a gay cruise? It's fabulous. Have you been to P-Town? Oh, it's
there are so many horrible things to be said here, but I think
it
we
is
should really
rainbow
stop.
fun.
I want you to stop before you make like a milk joke. Like,
No, I've never been to San Francisco.
okay, good. So
But I've been to Moe's in San Diego, and that place is delightful. It is the gayest bar in all of San Diego proper, and they do the most per capita for bar sales and anywhere in San Diego, and they have theme nights, and my favorite was Tuesdays, where it was Show Tune Tuesdays. Then it turned in at 10 o'clock to Tap that ass Tuesday, and they played like hardcore gangster rap, like shit. I don't even know. It was just like this is amazing.
That is amazing. So I just thought that one was hilarious. I mean,
So make it
definitely
there gay
ban the
again.
straights. Ban
I think
the
we
straights.
yeah.
Obviously. But let's move on to the real news of the last week, of course. Hurricane Harvey and all of the horrible things happening to Houston at this point. 300,000 left without electricity.
Beaumont, Texas is
Beaumont is now getting crushed.
it's without drinking water indefinitely, they've said.
The big water treatment plant was completely submerged.
Both of them. They had two water pumps.
Yep.
Both are destroyed. Then that came out, I guess, earlier today, where they basically said that the water supply is indefinite. And then I was getting like visibly, like just like in my space, like just so violently angry reading about these poor people who like they were told it was announced that their drinking supply is cut. They don't know when it's going to come back, if it's ever going to come back. That's how much damage is done to this town or city. I forget what it technically is. And so these people are scrambling. And what do you like? And then you still got flooded streets. You still got flooded homes, and they've got like 1 or 2 convenience centers that are like possibly can be open. And like
You've got other large cities offering space, food, everything.
to get out of the city, so people are running to try to get drinking water, and they shut down I think it was right outside of like Walmart. I read a story where how people were running to the convenience center to try to grab up drinking water as they were told that there was no more drinking water, and Walmart had to close because they didn't have any running water, and you can't for a health code you can't open a store without running water. But they were trying to sell the little that they have, but like when they closed down, like people there's like I guess cases of water outside the store on display, like a lot of grocery stores usually have, and people were trying to take them, and then cops were intervening. And it's like when you have such a disaster where now a town is indefinitely without a drinking water, and cops are trying to prevent you from taking drinking water, that should be illegal.
Yeah, they should have worked out a deal there.
And like half of these people,
emergency situation.
yeah, and half of these people, like, I mean, to be fair, the one cop that was like, he did say he's like, I'm not going to arrest anybody, but like, but then he kind of like, backhanded it with like, but we just can't let them take whatever they want. I'm like, they're taking water. They don't have any. This isn't whatever they want. This is what they need to survive.
Yeah. At that point, the cops should have really just said, Walmart, we're going to give it to them.
I mean,
charge
honestly,
us,
I think,
bill us.
I mean, any bottled water company in the designated area of destruction should be price zero. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't think you should sell.
Oh, that's because you're a dirty, rotten socialist. The capitalists in Texas are raising the prices.
Yeah.
Oh well, no. That is criminal, and they.
Yeah.
And I guess there was a guy who was trying to do that at the back of his truck on Friday, and someone was like tweeted his photo, and then like even filmed himself like screaming him out because it's like fuck you. Like natural disasters show the best of humanity and the fucking worst of humanity, and it's just mind-boggling that like this town is out of drink. Like they do not have drinking water. There is bottles of water, but just because you can't ring it up in a cash register that people can't have it?
Yeah, it's insanity. I mean, the people should have there were enough of them, they should have just overpowered the cops at that point. The cops would have backed down if they were pressured that hard.
Yeah, but when you're at your breaking point too, like like your will to fight.
Are you saving your energy to get out of town?
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like sometimes you just don't have the physical strength.
So some of the more interesting problems, I've listened to a lot of podcasts and other news shows about Harvey right now, and one of them this morning was talking about the various floodplains outside of the central Houston area and how they were designated as necessary to keep this type of thing from happening. And they were undesignated over the last 30 years, slowly, plot by plot, to allow more urban sprawl, more little communities being built, more shopping centers being built.
Usually at the behest of developers.
Yeah, where developers were lobbying for it.
Yep.
And there was more than enough actual floodplain there if they hadn't allowed people to build on land that they knew this would be a problem for. And their excuse now is that this is a once in 100 years, if not once in 1,000 years event.
No. Well, I mean, it depends on what day you were talking, because the number of years that it's been the once in a lifetime flood has dramatically increased and increased and increased. Not only
but
that,
it has, because the actual water has increased.
the amount of water.
But it's the third.
It's the third once in a
3 years.
Yeah, that they've had in the last 10 years. So it's
Yeah.
now
in the last 3 years, Houston has been hit with 3 1 in 500 year floods.
So it's a one every year flood.
Now.
Yeah, now it's
And
one every year.
then here's the other thing. A couple of weeks ago, Trump had rescinded flood zone regulations that Obama had put in place after Hurricane Sandy.
And his blueprint for his budget would have cut FEMA's budget by $667 million and eliminated the National Flood Insurance Program.
Oh, and he's still flouting that. There's still that's
he
still,
still wants to
That's
kill
still a
those
thing.
things.
Yeah.
Also, just to note, most of the people that have flood insurance are insured by the National Flood Insurance Program.
Yeah, flood insurance
And-
is a federal program.
Right.
It's all underwritten by the federal government.
And you have to have specifically flood insurance because if you get flooded and you didn't have that, you are out of luck.
But here's-
No other insurance is
But here's the
covering
other
that.
thing too. To get flood insurance, you have to be in a designated flood zone.
Yes. And it should be noted that even though huge portions of the Houston area are in designated flood zones, only about 15% of the residents of Houston actually had flood insurance.
Yeah, so I don't know how they were sold houses or
Well,
policies.
in a lot of
with-
cases, it's renters who aren't the property owners. But
Yeah, but still, the property. Like, I mean, from my understanding, from my little understanding of health insurance, because my parents live their house, or growing up, our house has always been in a flood zone. So, and we've always had flood, not like minor floods but my understanding was like if you live in a flood zone, you have to like.
it's usually a requirement of mortgages.
Yeah, like
But if you don't
or
need
just
a-
homeowner policy. Like,
Oh, yeah, if
you
you're
know,
in like at a homeowner association or something.
or yeah, like if you're buying homeowners insurance, and they find out where you live, they go, oh, okay, you're in a flood zone, so you have to have this. Like, you know, so like
you
I
would
don't
think, but it doesn't seem to be enforced.
I mean,
And there's a lot you can get away with.
This
in
is one of
Texas
those
you
funny
can't get away
times
with
Yeah.
where you
elsewhere.
give me that weird look like,
Well, no,
but there's rules
no,
and there's
it's
law.
not
And I
necessarily
say,
it's a
but
rule, but it's like what I don't understand is like from I guess a capitalist standpoint, how does an insurance agent not?
yeah,
you know
it's,
what I mean? Like,
it's very strange.
Well, if you look into the same sorts of derivatives and such like that they were using in the lead up to the financial crisis, honestly, a lot of the time, banks don't even really care if a mortgage fails. They don't even really often care about whether they get the house back. That's nice, but they're covered by reinsurance with other banks. So
Yeah.
if the policy goes south and they get nothing, well, they still get all their money. They don't really give a shit.
yeah, but I just felt like, and yeah, the other thing too, it's like in some of these towns, like I don't think Katy, Texas was designated a flood zone.
No.
They had to add them to for the disaster relief. But it's like you've got all these poor communities, that weren't in flood zones, so they never even thought to have flood were a possibility, and now it's underwater.
Right, because some of the flood zones were 30 feet underwater, so the places that weren't flood zones were still 5 feet underwater.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
And an inch of water in your basement does damage.
Oh, yeah.
So 40 to 50 billion in damages, according to Moody's.
And that's not a conservative low. I think
That's just based off of current information.
Yeah, that's
Like
just
the-
they haven't seen what's under half of that water.
The White House briefing today, I guess, I think FEMA or Abbott, Governor Abbott, was like flouting or, trying to estimate or, probably out of thin air, but just the grasp of the size of the damage. He was saying 100 billion.
I wouldn't be
And
surprised.
during the White House briefing, I forgot who the guy was, but like a journalist asked, like, is that a correct estimate? And he even said, he goes, due to the size of the damage, he goes, I can't say if that's right or wrong. It could be less, it could be more. We're just starting to look at the estimation process now. He goes, there's really no way to tell like this early how like much damage or how much it's going to cost.
So on the ground, good old President Trump visits. Sort of. I mean, he goes to Texas. He hangs out with some firemen, some other
Goes to
city officials.
Corpus Christi, Texas, which is what, 200 miles away from Houston?
It got rained on.
But the actual center of the hurricane, the eye of the hurricane, passed between Corpus Christi
Yeah,
and
but, like-
Houston. So Corpus Christi actually, in terms of
Yeah, they got
storm
but I
damage
mean, like in terms of like the devastation,
Yeah, it
like
was
the fact
not-
that he was able to land a plane in Corpus Christi,
Right.
kind of telling.
Yeah.
So while there, of course, he tells everyone that he saw everything firsthand.
Well, he tweeted
Which
that. No, but
didn't.
first he gives a rally, and
Of
which
course.
on top of a fire truck, and he goes, "Great crowd, what a turnout! This is great."
Yeah, he says, "What a turnout! This is historic." Yeah. So Trump, of course, lies about seeing anything firsthand.
Well, and it's funny because like as he made that statement of like seeing the devastation firsthand, he tweeted or Instagrammed a photo of himself looking at a TV screen insane. Like
It would
insane.
have like a radar map.
Yeah.
There's great images out there that show that image of him next to an image of Obama hugging a Sandy
I
victim
saw-
and an image of
Yeah.
Bush hugging a Katrina victim.
And also one of Clinton hugging I forget which disaster it was, but something during
Andrew
And-
or something.
And
No, it would've been a
Obama
little
was
later, but-
at Katrina as like I think a senator or a congressman, or he wasn't. I know he wasn't president's Twitter,
Yeah.
because Twitter sure didn't know that. But
About
he-
3 years out.
Yeah, but he was actually in Katrina volunteering as I forget what position, elected a position he was, but
Yeah.
you know, it's like so everyone was like, "Where was Obama?" And it was like, first of all, not president, but there. So fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
Doubly. Like, wasn't president, was there anyway.
So the president shows up, sort of near where the major damage is, doesn't meet with the actual victims, says he saw it firsthand, which he didn't, and is still trying to push a $667 million budget cut to FEMA and trying to eliminate the National Flood Insurance Program.
I mean,
What a wonderful guy.
I don't see the problem here. I don't understand. Like, what's the big deal, guys?
Also,
This seems like to make total sense.
unusually for Trump, he did one really weird thing and actually appointed a respected and competent FEMA director. Then followed that up by doing the normal Trump thing and not appointing anyone else at FEMA. So they don't have any of the appointed positions except director filled.
Yes,
so they're
Brock
massively understaffed.
Yeah,
Meaning that he can't even do his job right.
and during the press conference when he first showed up in Corpus Christi, and like Trump's talking, he makes like his Trumpisms where he goes, Brock Long, who's become very famous thanks to Harvey. What?
How incredibly shitty do you have to be?
Like,
Like that even comes to your
this
head.
is the third day that he's flouting trying to hawk his new campaign hat that says, what is
USA.
it? USA, and then 45. And fucking Melania shows up with her FLOTUS hat that she's trying to hawk.
Yep.
So it's like,
Yeah, it's mind-blowingly crass. So let's talk about being charitable, helping out.
I bought dog food for the Houston Humane Society
Yep.
through their Amazon wish list.
There are actually a bunch of wish lists up there that are specifically for good organizations in the area. The Humane Society is a great one, and I would highly recommend going there, as the stress put on people by the stress of their pets is actually additive to all the other trouble they're already having with their life. If you could help them take care of their pets, that would be a huge relief to those people.
And I was reading their they like had this great long Facebook message that they linked this to, and they were like, we need like this. He goes, but also we need like minor things, like we need like paper towels, like we need cleaning supplies. It's like, and I also made the mistake of like looking through the photos of specifically the animals that were like displaced and affected, and I
you
was
did
like,
not need that in your
no,
life.
I was like crying at work like an asshole, going, why can't I have them all? And like, luckily, like no one was at work with me, but I was just like, it's so heartbreaking. I haven't been able to like take my eyes off of the coverage of this Harvey because it's just so like
you saw
painstakingly like
the
terrible.
picture that went viral of the dog running down the street away from the water carrying his own
The
dog food in his
and then
mouth.
there was like another dog, and then like someone, like a neighbor, said that like a neighbor like chained their dog outside to in their backyard, and then laughed.
Yep.
I saw a dog rescue that
There were a bunch of people going around unchaining dogs from things.
Yeah, and like there was this poor dog that was like on top of a truck as like water is like gushing by, and like he's just like shaking and oh my god, I was like, oh, it's so heartbreaking, all of it. And I want to take all of the pets home because like pets don't have
Doggo.
anybody, like.
Well, I mean, in that instance, if it's you or the pet, sometimes you have to make that hard choice.
But I mean, like, but they don't have family to turn to for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they can't call a relative up and say, hey, can you lend
Yeah.
me some money? Like,
Yeah, you got a sofa for me.
Yeah, and then there's
Yeah.
another like terrible photo too. Not terrible, but it was like cattle, like people trying to get cattle away. Like,
Oh, there was a picture of an actual a man riding horse. He was riding a horse, leading a bunch of other horses that were all up to their neck in the water, and he was leading them to higher ground. And the most interesting thing about it was there were
Thank
a
God I
few
did
of
not
them.
see that photo.
A few of them. Well, they all looked, to be handling it well, and they
Yeah.
were following him. He was horseback, and there were like a bunch behind. One of them, just randomly following him through the water, suddenly comes out of the water and goes back under because he climbed up a car and back down because there was a car down there. More damage to that car, but not like it's salvageable
yeah,
at this
like
point.
when you
Really
get
shit
like
that
that
point.
much water, it's like fuck it. Who needs a car?
Yeah, it's just it's savage looking at all that stuff, and I want to thanks to Mac here and some wonderful notes talk about something that sometimes I don't feel right talking about
Can I just
in the
preface-
wrong crowds.
I
but
just want to preface this. The Houston mayor has set up a Houston Harvey Relief Fund through like the Houston city.
Yep.
So it's like Harvey.
That's where your money should be going,
so what
not
is it?
the
It's
Red Cross.
It's harveyrelief.org or something. We'll link it. But I mean, yeah. So anything Harvey Relief is the Houston mayor's they set up their own private, like not private, but like their own fund separate.
They have managers being set and put in place.
It's that fund though, because I'm sure there will be others set up with similar names.
Oh yeah, no, I got a report this morning that said the scammers had went and snatched up domains like months in advance.
Happens a lot.
That's fucked. But anyway, I just want to stress, like, preface that, like,
there is a very specific, legit Houston run by the mayor's office fund.
Well, there's
to help
multiple
support
legit
this.
ones, but I want to stress his because he set it up.
And in addition, there's other things like the aforementioned Humane Society or local food banks, local organizations that really will do some good if you and really could use the help and resources and aren't getting the kind of attention they really ought to.
Yeah.
So Apple have put into iTunes a way to donate quickly to the Red Cross, and as a company have committed to match ×2 any employee donations. So there's about 3 million coming from them now towards this, and then there's of course the easy way to donate straight through iTunes, and all of it to the Red Cross. And I think for the most part, big companies like that do it because the Red Cross is such a large organization that it can handle that amount of money showing up, that it's got the infrastructure in place for it. But
It's also about brand recognition.
But the problem is that it doesn't have much else going for it. That place, I mean, you can look at the history of their actual efficiency as a charity, and they love to tout, numbers above 90. But if you look at the numbers, those are just literally blatant lies, mistellings, hiding numbers, hiding truths. They are in a 2014 report. It was revealed the Red Cross had repeatedly misled people about what % of donor dollars were actually going to humanitarian services. They were claiming 91% of donations went to services, but in fact, fundraising alone averaged 17 cents per donated dollar over the last 5 years. That means 17 cents out of every dollar actually made it to a humanitarian service that helped someone. The rest went to overhead.
No, that's 17 cents went to additional fundraising. We don't even know what percentage actually got spent
they're
on
only like
helping
70% efficient. I think with Charity Navigator,
that's being generous.
Yeah, I mean, they don't
they're a 2
release
out of
enough
4 on
information.
Charity Navigator for the financial performance. I mean, they do not do anything efficiently.
If anyone isn't familiar with Red Cross, they just Google Red Cross Haiti and like that. I know it's like it's
the
$1
billion they took in to build 6 houses.
Oh, and a soccer field.
Oh, and a soccer field.
I think too.
They built some other things. They just nowhere near the scale of things that they claimed.
built $3 million worth of stuff with the $1 billion they were given.
Yeah, no, So I mean,
Don't give your money to the Red Cross. Give your money to the local organizations actually doing the work.
And there's a ton of them right now, and there's a lot. Like New York Times listed out a bunch that weren't the Red Cross. I know.
It really sucks having to say this about the Red Cross too, because there are very few charities at that size that literally have their own helicopters, their own hospital
it just
ships,
sucks that
and all these
people,
other things. You need a charity to be that large.
There is one very important thing that the Red Cross does that isn't really available from many other charities, and that's dealing with blood donations. That is one area where they are actually solid. And in fact, that should highlight just how bad their disaster relief is, because their blood donation programs are actually relatively efficient, and they combine that with their disaster relief to improve their numbers.
Because they can't put blood in their bank account, so it's like they have nothing to do but give it away.
Right.
So all I really want to get out of this is to make it clear that, if you give your money to the Red Cross to help, to feel better, I don't really care what your reasoning is. You are giving it to an organization that is not efficient, that is not actually going to put the majority of that money towards helping the people on the ground. However, if you go direct to the city-run funds, to people like the Humane Society, these exact, literal, local on-the-ground groups, they will.
Yeah, like J.J. Watts from the Houston...
J.J. Watts.
From the Texas has already raised over $10 million. So, yeah, there's a lot of people doing a lot of fundraising right now.
We'll link to a few lists of the right ones to actually donate to.
Yeah.
It's just important that people know this.
Doubts and are thinking about donating to an organization, but you aren't sure, look them up on Charity Watch or Charity Navigator.
Yeah, that's a great site.
What they have to say.
And it was funny because so Trump pledged through Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who I want to be her bestie right now. I think she would throw some bomb ass football parties. Is all I'm saying. But no, so through the press briefings today, she said that Trump will donate $1 million from his personal fund into Hurricane Harvey, which is like, great, but $1 million is probably just coming out of like taxpayer money that he's charging Secret Service for. So it's like super.
Or it'll be like the Donald Trump Foundation's money that was donated to them.
Yeah,
for
like he'll
charitable
take
works.
he'll move $1 million on paper from like one.
Well, Schiff
like,
introduced a bill. He just introduced that bill to
yeah.
stop the Secret Service from spending any money at Trump properties.
Anyways, that's another rant. But they had asked, so a reporter followed up saying, where is he going to be donating it to? And is it going to be coming out of his direct, is it personal fund, or is it going to be coming out of like this Trump organization? And so Huckabee Sanders said, well, you know, there's a lot of, I guess, a lot of speculation about what different organizations to donate to right now. So if you guys want to tell me what organizations he should be donating to, I will give him that information. So even she acknowledged the fact that, like, looks like we're not saying Red Cross this year.
Yeah.
So, which I thought was interesting.
So we'll link to all of that stuff and hope everyone, you know, that is actually going to donate does their research so they give to the organization that
it
they
just
actually
sucks
want
that,
to.
like, I mean, the pink ribbon's the same way. It just sucks that, like, you know, these companies, they get so big and people, like, money corrupts all, you know, it's always kind of the force of evil. And then,
Well, for them, I think a lot of it is the age of that organization. The amount of bureaucracy and red tape just built in there over this amount of time has really led to inefficiencies. I think, sure, there's some corruption built in too,
it's
but
called their salaries. They want to keep them.
right, but you could, well, and they argue at the top there that you're not going to get the type of talent that could manage an organization this global without paying them that much.
I mean, you could.
It's an interesting argument, but I think there are some people who
people
would
should
give.
get paid accurately, but at the same time, like, you know, like, it's just, it sucks that they're knowingly taking advantage of the situation as well, because it's like they license out the Red Cross itself, like their symbol, same with the pink ribbon, because they know people are going to spend money on it, because they know people think that they're helping, and in fact, it's like you're not, you know, you just, it sucks to find out that, like, you think you're helping this whole time, but yet half of the money you've donated is only going to, like, you know,
to the pockets of people who actually
it's
own
going into
Ferraris.
administrative, like, duties, because it's like, why did you need that, you know, $500,000 whiteboard? Like,
Yeah, if you want more fun, just, you know, look up the history of the St. Jude's board of directors and their use of money. And I would say, you know, don't just go off of Charity Navigator and Charity Watch, but if you really want to look at it, just do the research to find out how many board members of St. Jude's started on that board driving a Honda and within a year owned a Ferrari and a mansion. Just figure that one out on your own and you'll realize just how bad that one runs.
so, like, the moral of the story is, if you want to become a millionaire, go into nonprofits, guys.
Yeah.
Just take money from people. They'll give it to you.
Just branding a good cause is like, it's just worth way too much money for the corrupt not to show up.
Yeah. But I mean, if you want to give blood, Red Cross, you can give blood. Sure. Yeah. And they'll feed you a cookie or something, I think, sometimes.
So, yeah, we'll post some links. Let's move on to...
Can we move on to?
Russian consulates are gonna close.
Well, a couple
supposedly, two of them
Until Saturday.
Yeah. So basically, we closed some of theirs. They closed some of ours. They closed some more of ours and want to kick a bunch of people out.
Yeah. How many did they kick out?
700.
We had like 700 in the country, and they wanted to reduce it by like half.
Yeah. So.
And then
like
Trump
400.
thanked him for reducing all of the
Yeah.
payroll.
And then, so
didn't.
now we've told them to get rid of their consulate in San Francisco
is an
and
odd
two of their
place for
trade
Russians, I would
annexes
think.
in Washington and New York. No. If you want to be dealing with Silicon Valley, you need a consulate in
Yeah, but,
San
like, I don't
Francisco.
know,
So they're going to be retaining 3 consulates. So
And so are we.
I just think it's funny. I can just picture, like, just, an asshole Russian, like a Putin type, being in, like, downtown San Fran, like, during Pride Parade, and them just being, like, so angry and furious, and then just, like, calling Putin up, being like, there's just so much happiness. I don't know what that feels like.
So now we're down to 3. They're down to 3, and Russia, of course,
Wait,
says
what do they have left here? I thought we expelled.
they'll have 3
no.
consulates left.
and a bunch of annexes.
And a bunch of the like trade annexes and diplomatic annexes and things like that.
Like, where are those ones? In the United States?
Yeah.
They're all over. I think they have a consulate in D.C.
That was closed.
No, that was. I thought that was one of their other properties. That
One
was
of their
a
trade
consular-
annexes in DC is one of the ones that's getting closed, but they
Obama
have others.
closed one in DC or outside of DC, right?
Yeah, that was
in New York.
property
The
that they
retreat.
held, but it was basically
Yeah.
like a retreat. It wasn't the actual
okay,
consular.
okay.
Yeah, so that's happening, and Russia's, of course, reaction to just the next step in this is saying that we are escalating tensions. And Dmitry Peskov, the wonderful Kremlin spokesperson who we all love to hear from, says we regret regret the unconstructive stance taken by our counterparts in the United States. And he calls it hostile. So...
And said that they would retaliate.
I just don't know. I mean, is anything to be taken by the fact that we keep slowly taking our people out of their area, and
Well, it doesn't really matter
they
if
keep
Trump's
taking
getting
their
paid
people
from
out
them.
of our area?
They're not actually taking their people out. The U.S. isn't expelling anyone. It's just telling them to close 3 of the
Yeah,
facilities.
they're moving
They
into
can
Trump
move-
Tower.
Okay,
Down the
that's
street.
what's
like,
happening. There
I mean,
you
Yeah,
go.
they just want to make operations more efficient.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they want to have a direct line of communication. Like, instead of like having to go down the street to talk to like Trump Jr., like you could just go up the elevator.
Yeah, there's not really much to talk about there. I mean, for that one, we just...
I mean, because it's still unfolding, and I think it's just showboating at this point. Like, I think
Yeah.
they're just trying to cover up the fact that like Trump
it's
is
the
getting.
easiest move they can make that
Yeah.
looks strong to the general
Yeah,
public.
and like Trump gets to now posture and say, "See, I'm not in Putin's pants because
Right.
I just kicked out his buddies." It's like, well, they're still living in the country, so I don't know what you mean. He goes,
Yeah.
"Well, I kicked him out of that place."
Yeah, we shot a building down. Like it's bigly.
Huge.
So
I don't
we'll
know
get, we'll
Russia.
get back
I've
to
never
that
been with
one
Russia.
after the next couple consulates
I
close.
mean, I'm
we'll
sure
talk
something
about
is
that
going to
one
happen
again.
either tomorrow night, Friday night, or like Saturday morning. Like,
I did
Or
like
every one of them.
Yes.
Like it's nonstop here.
I did like the part where Sarah Huckabee Sanders claimed that it was Trump's decision. I'm like, really? How
He was-
plausible do you
okay,
think
first
that
of all,
is?
I'm gonna get very defensive of my Huck face because I love her, because she so coldly
She does
and
nothing but lie.
She's told to lie, and she does it so well.
She doesn't though. She does. She.
You can see it by how angry she keeps
I know.
getting.
That's why I love it, because it's like
When they
watching.
make her repeat the lie, she gets angrier about it.
Because she's
Really,
not
that
really,
is
but
hilarious.
I love. It's almost like a sport now, because like she's playing football begrudgingly because her dad didn't have a son. Like it's almost like, you know what I mean? Like she'll come out. She's like, all right, these are the lines. I'm gonna fucking say them. You gotta say it. I'm gonna say them. I'm gonna say them. And then she tries to say it, but then you could tell in her heart she's like, why did I agree to do this? Why am I doing
I
this?
don't know that I buy that. I think she's evil.
No. I think her beliefs are terrible, but I just love like her character. I think it's so much fun to watch.
She is a character.
I
yes.
wanna be at her family dinner party.
I want that
Yeah.
character to be restricted to Saturday
You want to be
Night
in her
Live
fantasy football league?
and not.
Yeah, I do. I think she would be a great football fan to watch. I think because she would be the type to like rip the TV out of the wall if like her team is losing. You know what I mean? Like, and she probably makes a bomb ass
She
buffalo
probably
Joe.
would.
Yeah,
actually.
no, I fully
No,
believe
and
that.
like I bet you she has all the snacks, like the best snacks.
Well, I mean, no, not gonna say it.
No, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, can we be friends? Is all I'm saying.
Yes.
Can I come over for football season?
You almost got me there too. All right, so we're going to just wait and see on the consulates and see. Maybe we end up with none here and none there, and wow, won't that be interesting? So let's move on to
Where do we go from here?
Georgia,
Yeah,
Georgia
that
on my mind.
revelation from 2016.
Cobb County, Georgia, where
Wasn't something else just happening in Cobb County?
Look, anytime you hear Cobb County mentioned in the news, it's
not going
never
to be
for
good,
any
and it's always going to be
Yeah,
racist.
always. It
Yeah,
happens a
I'm
lot.
like, or maybe it was from Law and Order. I don't know. There was something I was definitely.
That's a whole nother thing we'll get to in a
but I
minute.
definitely I just heard the term Cobb County not too long ago, but it probably was on TV. Let's be honest.
Probably. So in Cobb County in July of 2016, police officer Lieutenant Gregg Abbott, no relation to, of
Governor.
course, Governor Gregg Abbott, he was caught on dash cam telling an upset woman at a DUI stop, remember, we only kill black people. Yeah, we only kill black
so the
people,
reason
right?
why he said that is because when
He was trying to de-escalate.
So when he
I've watched
called-
the whole video.
No, but you didn't preface what she said first, because she had said, while he said pulled her over, she had made a statement to him saying, "I'm afraid to move. I don't want to get shot."
No, he asked her, she was afraid, and he said, you can use your phone to call somebody, and her phone was in her lap, and she said, I don't want to reach for it because I've seen so many videos of cops, and then he cut her off and said, remember, we only kill black people. Yeah, we only kill black people, right? All the videos you've seen, have you seen black people get killed? You have. That's what he said to her in response to the fact that she didn't feel
And that
safe
was
reaching
supposed
for
to
her
be
phone.
the de-escalation of her being nervous to reach for her phone.
If you
which-
actually,
I-
if you actually watch the video, it did end up with her getting out of the car. Everything else, it did de-escalate the situation, which is sad because I really wish it hadn't, because that taught him, at least at that time, that worked with that person.
I mean, I only read about that far, and then I went blacked
Ballistic?
out.
Yeah.
I blacked out in rage, and I woke up with blood on me. So I think something good happened. I don't know. But
So
But what drives me
he's on administrative duty now. Not even administrative leave. They put him behind a desk and he's still getting paid.
I thought I read on that Think Progress there's an investigation.
Well,
into
maybe
him.
as of today
Yeah,
something's
there
changed.
is
But as of last week, he was still on administrative duty. So he was still working, but just like desk job.
And of course, this is something that happened like middle of last year. So the fact that he's been on administrative duty and they are getting
they're
serious.
always on administrative paid leave, even
Oh, this wasn't even paid leave.
I know, but they all like it's always administrative or it's paid leave.
Yeah.
But
The thing I really want to say here that's just clear is I understand the police officers need to de-escalate a situation where someone was scared of him. That does not excuse this comment. This comment is racist.
okay, besides the whole racism level, because like that's like a huge part of it, but also you don't de-escalate a situation by talking about murder
Yeah, that is not
while
really,
you're fully armed.
It's not really a good way of
Like,
de-escalating. It may be effective in some cases. It's just
like,
a bad idea.
You don't sit there and say, "Don't worry, I only kill blank," and have a gun on you. Like, and that's not a de-escalation. That's I'm telling you I murder. That is escalating it.
Yeah.
That's saying
At the very least, you're setting the implication of, yes, under some circumstances, you might get murdered here.
if you were darker skin, yeah, you'd be dead right now. That's not a de-escalation.
No, it really is. And I don't know what kind of, well, sadly, I think I can say that I have a good idea, but I don't know what kind of police training it is that they teach police officers that something like that is anything resembling a good idea.
Zero. Oh, it's zero training going in, except for maybe
no training
Maybe
taught
it's like I
anyone
think it may be
that.
a Scantron test, and then you learn on the job.
Yeah, they got plenty of training on the job.
Look, I've got like
unfortunately.
PTSD from those from school, so so don't bring those up.
Answer was B every time.
I mean, I just tried to
I
draw
didn't- I
pictures.
didn't pass,
I
but,
know. I
like-
just tried to draw pictures. I don't know. I gave
Makes
up.
sense.
I don't like
I remember
tests.
someone told me once. I know we're going on a tangent, but someone told me once that if you colored outside the bubble, you automatically failed. So I would try so hard to stay in the line, and I was like, I'm not failing for going outside the line.
Okay, so from one racist cop to another.
To the racist cop, like on the
Superlative
yeah.
racist.
I would like to read for our audience the title of our notes. This page is titled, Fuck Joe Arpaio and His Evil Face.
I'd say I feel like his evil fuck face.
Originally, it was going to be stupid fucking face, but I felt like that didn't capture the fact that he is evil
I think we're
sufficiently.
at our limit of F-bombs at this point to keep our explicit tag off and
Well,
be
this
nice,
is the
wholesome
wrong
entertainment.
This is the wrong
I
segment
know,
for
yeah.
that.
Like, there's so much fuckery happening.
Seriously.
Like, there's fuckery happening as we're recording this, and then like we're gonna get off the air, and something like major is going to drop.
Oh yeah, we are currently missing something. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
and I really hope it's not an actual bomb over North Korea. Like,
So returning to Trump using Harvey as PR and everything else, he used Harvey to kind of give him a smokescreen and gave a pardon to Joe Arpaio on Friday, August 25th at night when maybe nobody was looking, except we were all looking.
because he had just
he specifically said that he did it during the
Oh
hurricane.
yeah, when he thought there would be ratings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and after 2 hours after he had banned the trans from military again. So it's like you just dropped a major like news bomb, and then you're like, oh, here's another one. And then Joe Arpaio and the trans military ban was like not even the like there was also another thing. We had Gorka got fired. So it's like when you fire a Nazi and that doesn't even like grease like skim the top of like all the shittery.
Yeah, that wasn't even the good news of the day. Like,
Right.
that was amazing. So as we continue down this fun path of Joe Arpaio, I'd like to say that my wife Anna has joined us in studio and is gonna help us talk about this horrible human being and all kinds of other topics.
Hi, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I kind of jumped in late, so this is the way things go. I was busy being a responsible, civically engaged citizen.
What does that mean?
That means I went to a really boring meeting.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, well,
Was there cake?
there was not cake. There was no cake. There was no punch. There was no pie. There wasn't even a free hat. I'm very disappointed.
I don't understand what the civic.
These are all South Park references. I'm sorry. That's not very
That's
good.
over my head. I mean, I thought there was going to be at least coffee there.
No. See, what happened was we've got the city councilor at large election coming up in November in Malden, which is super exciting. And we've got 4 people running for 3 slots, which is even more exciting. But this is what local elections look like. So they had a meeting. They had 13 people on the presenting side, and my count was 21 people showed up from the public side.
Sounds like democracy.
That is how democracy works right now. So, like, I'm doing my bit, but you know how it goes with this. You know, you got to show up to things. You got to listen to people.
Yeah, especially the smaller town meetings. But
yeah, it's really funny hearing them complain, like, oh, the public doesn't show up to budget meetings. The public doesn't show up to this or that. I only hear from them when there's a problem. It's like, guys, you're actually kind of hard to reach, and we don't know what to do.
and you're boring.
Hey, I will say this. Like, Spatafora, for any faults he may have, he's actually entertaining to listen to.
Well, I just think like all town meetings are always like kind of boring. That's why people don't go. And like, so it's like you need to get like some laser lights. I don't know, like some like I don't know, definitely some like cookies.
There's no way they're gonna get laser lights in the budget. They're currently arguing over how many lead pipes they can afford to replace this year because the city has more lead pipes than any other one in Massachusetts. Yay!
Oh, that's super awesome. I love lead. Lead tastes great.
You are definitely the poster child of like lead poisoning. I'm sorry, I got us really off topic, Gregg. I just showed up and ruined everything for you.
This is what happens when too much estrogen is in the room. It's like we start on one topic. And then we end up 4 feet away, and we're like, where did we start?
I think it's just because I really hate Joe Arpaio, and I literally tried to read one of the articles about all the bad things he's done, and I had to stop partway through for my own sanity. Like, I couldn't finish it.
That is actually an entirely reasonable response. I just want to note that I've been familiar with Joe Arpaio for a long time, but when I was making the notes, I actually used pretty much exclusively a very good article done from Current Affairs titled, "Wait, do people actually know just how evil this man is?" And for anyone that, you know, wants more than what we're going to cover here, because there is a lot, and wants to know why we are saying that Joe Arpaio is outright evil, I highly recommend this article.
And also, this isn't just like liberals or like libtards saying he's evil. Like, you've got like pretty much every federal judge, there was the guy who found him guilty of criminal contempt that like got him like this, you know, pending a prison sentence was a Bush appointee. And then there was another judge that was a Nixon appointee.
And Clint Bullock of the, I think it's the Goldwater Foundation, I don't remember offhand, but he's now an associate justice at the Arizona Supreme Court. But several years ago, when he was just with the Foundation Institute, whatever, he released analyses showing that Arpaio was in fact lying to the public when he suggested that his focus on immigration wasn't harming the ability of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office to do their jobs. So this is a guy that is very much a right-wing libertarian coming at this and going, yeah, no, he is not doing his job at all. So this is like everyone.
You've got everyone except for Trump and Arpaio saying that Arpaio...
And the people that really just like being racist.
Yeah, like, so it's like, yeah.
Like Trump and Arpaio.
Unless you're a neo-Nazi and like just a deplorable human being and like just like human feces comes to life, like you hate this man.
I think there are a lot of people who aren't white human feces come to life who just aren't aware of the extent of the badness. And there's like, oh, people don't like him because they say he's racist. Like, no, we don't like him because he like encouraged guards to beat people half to death.
So, and people died.
Or all the way to death in multiple cases.
In fact, just dealing with the civil rights violations, conspiracy, false arrest, and malicious prosecution defenses and settlements that Maricopa County had to deal with while he was sheriff cost them over $92 million.
You just imagine what you could have used that money for instead of, you know, paying families of people that got beaten to death. Like,
or like falsely like accused of crimes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying those people don't deserve that money because like what the hell, but like we shouldn't have
come up in the first place.
No level of government anywhere should have to spend that much money covering up a sheriff's ass.
And how did he keep getting reelected while he was costing them this much money?
Especially after the assassination.
That was like 20 years ago, too.
I know. He made up his own assassination attempt and then got reelected. I don't understand how life works.
Let's really love doing that.
No, this one is special even by that standard. In 1999, Arpaio used the power and authority of his office, including his deputies and funds, to set up a fake bomb plot to kill himself, where deputies went and offered money and basically threats to a broke teenager named James Seville to get him to agree to participate in this plot to bomb the sheriff. They used the sheriff's money to buy the parts for the bomb. The deputies drove him around to buy the bomb parts, and then they busted him for a scheme that Arpaio created. He spent 4 years in jail before the charges got dropped, and then had to sue the county over over the entrapment, and they ended up spending $1 million to settle the case.
Because wasn't he held on bail or he was held without bail or something?
Because he allegedly threatened to kill the sheriff, or was planning to kill the sheriff.
And that's not even the first time. It didn't even stop
certainly not
there.
the last.
Yeah, like he went on and framed more people.
And not just framed, but when journalists, other police, or courts looked into all the shit he was doing, he would go after them. He hired a private investigator to follow and investigate a federal judge's wife. He had his deputies stage late-night raids on the homes of publishers of a paper that published things criticizing him. He harassed populations of towns where the mayor criticized him. Refused to provide police protection to towns where the mayor criticized him.
Just going through the list and the level of just pure evil and
not even vaguely disguised.
Yeah, out in the open with his dick flailing around like a shriveled raisin. He's just trying to do announcing he's doing all this shit. And I don't understand how he was able to stay in office for over 20 years.
Racist, ignorant old people.
And a lot of it was him portraying how tough he was on crime. But
he's going after judge's wife. If you're going after a federal judge's wife or mayors of towns, you know what I mean? You're not even just going after Latinos or people you think are assuming are Latinos. You're going after other elected officials and you're still not getting stopped or in trouble. What?
And I mean, some of the things he went after his own town's board of supervisors with faked felony charges against them for cutting his budget. The county attorney was actually disbarred over pushing those charges. And each of the members of the board of supervisors got a multi-million-dollar settlement over.
This
is standard practice for the kind of shit he was pulling.
And that was before he was half of this life was before he started to illegally detain Hispanics and Latinos and anyone that was darker than white.
Yeah, and the level of just how blatantly awful the policies were. This wasn't about immigrants. He was doing things like requiring visitors to prove they were U.S. citizens if they wanted to visit an inmate at the jail. So immigrants couldn't visit family members. And in fact, a U.S. citizen who worked for the county and was an interpreter was prohibited from entering the jail because he was Latino and couldn't immediately produce paperwork proving he was a citizen.
Oh, he sent his goons to just go up to people who are at traffic lights asking for because it's Arizona, you either have it's you went up to traffic lights. He would take children off the street and
as long as whatever he was doing could be racist, he would do it. But man, if anyone did any kind of sexual crime against a woman, he would not investigate.
Yeah, there were literally
if it was race, well, he was coming for you.
Yeah, there was 3 different
you weren't right.
not just 3, but there was 3 that I read. I think it was through the Phoenix Times because the second he got pardoned, the Phoenix Times was hey, we've been covering this jackass for 20 years. Here's just a taste of everything he's done, and kind of went through the years. And I think it was through there that I read there was about 3 different sexual assaults that he closed out. The assaults were reported. I think 2 of them were minors or something. I know one in which he claimed that the mother didn't want to push charges, which isn't how charges work. No. Not in the criminal sense. And then and the other 2 he closed out the cases within less than a month or after a month, just over a month.
Yeah, he was. It turns out the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office was systematically failing to investigate sex abuse cases. A review of 51 crime reports showed that 43 of them had not been worked at all or had minimal follow-up conducted, even though 90% of them had workable leads. And the U.S. Justice Department at one point described the office by saying that they have failed to adequately respond to reports of sexual violence, including allegations of rape, sexual assault, and sexual abuse of girls, thus exposing women and girls who constitute the majority of victims of crimes of sexual violence in Maricopa County to a disproportionate risk of physical and psychological harm. Faced with such an increase in crime and the risk of harm presented by unaddressed sexual assaults, a law enforcement agency ordinarily would be expected to prioritize more serious offenses, such as crimes of sexual violence, over less serious offenses, such as low-level immigration offenses. And other reports, just all kinds of things adding on to that, just saying crime increased, including violent crime and homicides, and they weren't doing anything about it because they were just busy.
No, they were too busy watching their live stream of men in pink underwear.
Too busy managing the tent city.
In which, yeah, an
Managing is a really strong word for, you know, hoping
tormenting.
people die in the desert.
Yeah, tormenting. And
this is the person that Trump pardoned.
And specifically said good things about.
Oh, yeah.
50 years of service, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
and
Great
What this
guy.
proves is how important loyalty is to our president.
Oh, yeah. And then, because like back
Not
when...
how good of a person you are.
Because he praised Arpaio at the time when he went to Hawaii to search for quote unquote Obama's missing birth certificate, that he did so on taxpayers' dime from was it Maricopa? I can't pronounce it. Did so on this dime, fly to like Hawaii, harass people there, like. And then, praised him at the time, saying, like, he's doing good, like, still praises him to the day. And it's, like, to the fact that it's, like, there's a bigger point that, like, he had pardoned him, but prior to sentencing.
And then also asked that the judgment be vacated so that he wouldn't actually have been guilty in the first.
You can't do that!
The president can request it from the judge. And the judge went, give me some oral arguments as to why I should even think about that.
Oh, my God. I hope that judge punches him in the face.
I just hope that the response was 2 great big middle fingers.
Right? I mean, like, it shouldn't have taken this, like, insane act of just corruption to be at this point. Like, and, like, everyone's saying, like, we need, like, this should be an impeachable offense. Like, I understand everyone's saying, oh, he's got the part. Like, no, like, this is so egregious, so insane, so evil. And he's going to convince his loyal base that Arpaio is an innocent victim of just doing his job. Like, they already agree. They already think that.
He's a hardworking cowboy.
Like, and he was able to get away with so much.
You can't see my eyes rolling back, you know, through time.
The only real thing we have to look forward to here is the fact that he's 85 years old and won't be with us much longer, and will be removed from this earth by hopefully a painful death.
I hope he passes in such an embarrassing way. Like, I'm not even gonna like wish death on him, but I just hope when it happens.
I'm not gonna specify, but there's a certain legend about how Catherine the Great died that's 100% false. But if it happens to Joe Arpaio,
I actually
I'm laughing.
don't know this myth, but I do hope that it's like in such an embarrassing fashion. Like, I hope it's like
found dead in a pile of pink underwear.
Yeah,
that's definitely not the Catherine the Great one.
No, but
distinctly
I definitely want it to be like with his like pants down, like in like, you know, pink
autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah, like in just like in a furry costume, you know, like.
Oh no, he can be like the guy who got crushed by a boulder with his dick like all the way in a chicken.
Yes.
That guy.
Also, I just assume surrounded by interracial porn.
Oh yeah, like specifically Latino porn,
Yes.
probably.
Come on.
Obviously. All right. So, I mean, I hope anyone listening to this who might have even slightly thought that maybe he wasn't so bad has learned. And if you haven't, go
fuck
look
yourself.
up the current affairs article about him.
Because we like
First, go fuck yourself.
Even just the stuff in our notes, we only got to like half of, and that's not even all the stuff in the article, which isn't even all of the awful he's done. So that is how bad he is.
So staying with Trump for a little while.
Which is just staying with awful.
Yes. Mueller and Schneiderman. So Politico revealed yesterday that Robert Mueller is coordinating with the New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman on the investigation into Paul Manafort, which is really interesting because that means even if Mueller goes away through some orchestration of Trump, that the New York AG can keep going.
It also means that anytime Trump tries to pardon someone, well, they can take it to state courts as well, where Trump has no pardon power.
Exactly. So that's an interesting twist, and I'm really happy to hear that one. And then, of course, we found out today, thanks to NBC, that 2 sources familiar with the evidence say that Paul Manafort's notes from the Trump Tower meeting with Vestelnitskaya mentioned donations and RNC in close proximity. Which, of course, would be a very, very bad thing.
No, that's the RNC donating to Russian adoption agencies. Guys, remember, it was all about adoptions.
Yes,
poor babies.
Yeah, you know, like Trump needs to get adopted into the Putin family. That's how you become an oligarch.
I mean, he's been trying real hard, but like, I don't understand how you can be president of the United States and still fail at being an oligarch, but he's doing a real good job of it.
He's failing and succeeding at the same time, and I don't understand.
He's so bad at things. I feel like he deserves a medal for how bad he is.
And then we get to Ajit Pai.
Which, okay,
And the FCC.
I don't understand. I don't know who this person
So
is.
Ajit Pai is the head of the FCC, and he is the commissioner, and he was put there by Trump with the sole mission of ending net neutrality.
Okay, so I've only heard of him as the FCC commissioner. I didn't actually have a name associated with
Trump put him there. His name's Ajit Pai, and he is trying to remove net neutrality and all the fun stuff that the former commissioner, Wheeler, had put in place. And so there was the open call for comments, which the FCC does. And on their website, the form to actually submit your comments is significantly and horribly insecure.
I believe they've now either fixed or disabled it, but it was for several days after it was discovered.
As of the time of us starting recording...
Is this different from the Comcast comments?
Well,
this is
we could
kind
talk
of
about that.
related.
But the comment form itself that you were using to submit was not secure, and so you could actually upload any file you wanted, not just comments.
And it would now be
And
hosted on an FCC server for
so
anyone to see.
someone uploaded through the comment form a PDF, and when you look at the PDF file, you're going to be viewing it on fcc.gov/something something something something, right? So it's a PDF on fcc.gov, and in the PDF he used the FCC's seal and logo up at the top, and then FCC and their address and all that.
Make it
And
look like
then
their
in
letterhead.
the actual text of it, it says, "Dear American citizenry, we're sorry Ajit Pai is such a filthy, spineless cuck.
At the front door.
FCC."
Yeah, that was the
And
entire
that's
content.
on their website. And I
Did
will
you
tell
get
you,
it? Okay,
it
is
was
there a
still there when
screen
we
grab of
started.
this?
It was still there when we started
you
recording.
can find the URL, and it's archived on archive.org. I checked to make sure of that.
We need to get a screen grab in case they try to scrub it because they're like. But
Archive.org
Everyone
already
even
has it
downloaded
saved.
copies of it, has screen grabs. It's
well,
in
I
tons of
don't
news
have one.
articles. You can
Archive.org.
still pull it up right now.
Yeah.
It
I
is
have
still
service.
on their website.
I don't have service.
So
I mean, I was a little bit more amused by all the Rick and Morty gifts that people were hosting with the FCC.
Oh, were
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, I mean, you
they
gotta.
were uploading anything.
Yeah.
you
There's
gotta
a lot
hot
of
link
shit
your
going on
images
all the
somewhere.
time. Sometimes I don't make it to the FCC website, okay? There's a lot of websites I go to on a daily.
The thing is,
A lot of porn was uploaded because you had a 25 meg
Okay,
limit.
that I did see. I saw all of those.
There was like a whole episode of SpongeBob too, right?
Yeah.
now the thing is, it's like, yeah, it's funny. Okay, people uploading fake FCC documents and pictures of SpongeBob and porn. Fair enough. But I mean, they allowed you to upload up to 25 megabyte files of almost any file type. You could upload malware and it would be hosted on the FCC's server for anyone that visited that page.
I think they confirmed that there was at least one .exe that went through. So
Yeah. And it was
they
being served.
definitely, security researchers definitely demonstrated that it was possible.
Oh, super.
So, of course, beyond all that, with this call for comments, which today was the end of, it was studied, the hundreds of thousands of comments that got submitted, and a lot of them were put up by bots, and they were put up with a template, and all, but I'm sure just a few, of the ones that were on Ajit Pai's side and want net neutrality destroyed were all this one script, basically, and you could pull them out, and it was hundreds of thousands of them.
We previously mentioned all the fake ones from Comcast customers.
Yeah, and a lot of them actually were those ones from Comcast customers, which we had talked about before. So some of them dead, by the way. So obviously they didn't submit these things. But when you actually
they're commenting, they're voting.
when you
too.
actually looked at the data set of comments that were uploaded, over 90% of the unique comments that were not done by any bot or any script were for net neutrality, wanted to keep net neutrality, and wanted to stop him from removing the
There's only,
Title
like,
II check.
There's legit only like two people that want to get rid of net neutrality. It's Verizon and Comcast.
I think
That's, like,
AT&T and Sprint and a few others
a
are definitely
few.
on that
Well,
side.
like
They're
AT&T
just not
has
that
played
vocal
both
about
sides.
it. Yeah.
They're playing both
Well,
sides.
for
and they-
PR reasons.
Yeah.
Verizon does too.
But Verizon spearheaded the lawsuit
I know,
originally,
but
so it's
they've
like.
definitely played both sides.
But I mean, like they were like, yeah. So it's like really, in reality, only Verizon and Comcast want that because they're the biggest players.
Yeah, they'd make a lot more money if they could do this.
I mean,
money
we
they
have
don't
we
need.
have Comcast at my day job, and I just noticed that they just tacked on a brand new charge. Like they've created another charge, and it's $2.50 a month, but it's just a brand new charge that they just tacked on this month. And I was like, what is this for? And like there's no explanation on their website as to like what the charge is. It's like it's just they're like not even a sales tax. It's just like it's a new fee. They're just adding it on.
Yeah.
It's a 4, fuck you, pay us.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
So
It's for your goddamn internet that you can't live without.
So
It's
yeah.
not even that. Like I don't even know what it is, but it's the only provider in the area that we
Right,
are
but that's
in.
what she's saying. They can
Yeah.
charge you whatever they want
Yeah.
because you need it. So what we know is that over 90% of the comments were specifically in favor of keeping the status quo. And I still believe that Ajit Pai is going to change it anyways because it doesn't matter and he can.
Yeah, and everything he's ever said doesn't indicate any sort of caring what the public says on the matter. He is very expressly anti-net neutrality.
Yeah, because the second he reverses it, you know what's going to happen? A month later, he's going to get a funny new job inside of one of those broadband.
He's going to get
where
a
do you think he
board
came
seat.
from?
Yeah, probably, I don't know, what, Time Warner, Comcast, where is he from?
I forget where he
he's
worked
going
offhand,
on one of the
but
directors'
he was
board.
from there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a revolving door.
Yeah, he's going right back the second it's gone.
That is the week so far. It is kind of crazy.
And this is, we're recording on Thursday night, which means
So
by
I
the
can't
time
wait
this
to
is
see
uploaded,
what's
5
done
hours
tomorrow.
after this gets uploaded tomorrow, that means a whole bunch of shit's about to happen.
He does like to wait till Friday for it too, so I'm sure.
Yeah,
there'll be
tomorrow
something
night we're
exciting.
definitely going to have
I
some
said
fun.
this earlier. So there's rumors that he's going to end DACA by Friday.
The Dreamers.
Yeah. That is children that were brought here by their parents, most of which have like only lived in America. They don't know any other country. Some of them don't even remember coming here. The younger ones, maybe if they do, they it was a traumatic event getting here. But Obama created I forget what Deferred Action Children's. I forget what it stands for.
Everyone calls them Dreamers.
Yeah, because that was the failed bill that they couldn't pass. But
Yep.
DACA is the actual
The
executive,
actual bill.
it's the executive order actually, but it granted them basically not amnesty, but it gave them reassurance that if they can prove, like not prove, but if they were, they could get working papers, they could go to school, they get a job, and they could then file for, go through the process of green card and citizenship without having to worry about their undocumented status. And so I guess it's coming up or it's expiring. And then, so Trump, they're floating it that he's going to end it tomorrow. He's also planning on going back to Texas on Saturday.
What?
So
No.
Yep, he's already said he's going back to Texas on Saturday because Pence showed him up and he actually picked up a tree branch. So now Trump's got to do something, which means
Can somebody like drink half of a fatal amount of water and then have Trump have to one up them? What the hell? Like, if you're gonna get in a dick waving contest, can you at least get yourself out of the way in the process? How is
I don't know how he's had not given himself a heart attack by his gross eating habits. But my guess is that he's going to announce the end of DACA somewhere between, 6 and 9 p.m.
On Friday.
on Friday, then go to Texas and, try to take a whole bunch of photos and change the story.
Makes sense.
Hey,
Both of
Kayla?
which-
Kayla,
That sounds like our president.
can we be bitchy about Melania's heels for a minute before Gregg makes a stop?
First
You saw
of-
this, right?
her fucking 12-inch heels.
12-inch itty bitty little pencil thin heels.
Yeah, first
I understand. Sometimes you have the shortened tendons and everything. You need to be, in some type of a heel to be comfortable. I understand that's the thing, but that's why there are practical wedges, ladies. What is the stiletto doing
when
in
you're
hurricane
going into
zone?
a flood
What are
zone,
you doing?
okay? Everyone knows you get your Timbs out because they get Timberland heels out there, and if you can't, you wear platform wedges, okay?
Obviously, platform is the correct shoe.
You don't
for
wear
a flood
stilettos. You need to lift the foot, and also don't wear a fucking FLOTUS hat. Your fucking goddamn $40 FLOTUS hat.
Wait. She had a hat.
Oh, she got on the plane with tiny stilettos, and then she got off the plane with a FLOTUS hat. Then they walked hand
It's
in
for
hand.
sale on their website.
Yeah, it's on sale. $40 a piece.
No.
Yep.
I was already so mad, and you guys keep making it worse.
And I think she
That's what
changed.
happens when you keep talking about something related to Trump or his family.
And I think she changed her shoes or her shirt too. I think it was she had a white button down, and I think she turned it into an off-white button down to make it look like she could get dirty.
And I know, it sounds bitchy to be complaining about, what a woman is wearing in public and everything, but
When you're going to a flood zone,
you're going into a flood zone. You are representing
okay.
the whole country in the process.
okay.
Could you make us look at least
All right, well,
slightly
actually,
aware of anything?
to be fair, she was going around a flood zone, and they were stuck.
Flood adjacent.
they were closer to the flood zone than they were happened to be. And she knew that like they were going to like be in the same area as a flood has happening. So like, still don't wear fucking stilettos. Like that's like being Munchin's wife on Instagram bragging about how much you pay in taxes, and so that you're allowed to have Hermes bags or whatever.
Yeah, no, we definitely have the oligarchs in power at this point. They just don't care.
Seriously, Marie Antoinette was a saint compared to these people.
Maybe.
I mean, she did say to let him eat cake.
We are over
Didn't
an hour
actually.
in now. And I think we're going to call the episode. That is episode 23 here on Thursday night.
Thanks everybody for listening. Make sure that you
Absolutely.
participate in your local government, even though it's super boring.
And of course, pay attention to all the asks for our social media, our Patreon, and everything else so we can keep the show going.
And follow me on Twitter at Avery Kayla. I don't even know my Twitter handle.
All
You're
right.
bad at this.
I know, I'm like terrible.
You're the best at
But
self-promotion, Kayla.
like, don't like literally follow me, just like on the social media.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you for listening. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GreggHoush Show and on Instagram at GreggHoush. If you like what you've heard and want to be a part of it, check out patreon.com/GreggHoush Show. In exchange for funding our programming, you gain access to exclusive content such as uncut editions of our podcast. We have new episodes every Thursday night. We hope you listen in. The GreggHoush Show was created by GreggHoush, executive produced by co-host Eric Gaures, and co-hosted by Kayla Avery. Other contributors include producer and writer Anna Jeffrey, co-host producer David McGuffin, and writer-engineer Robert Tortora. Theme music for this show was produced and recorded by Geneva de Colbert. Our interns include co-host Casey McLaughlin, writer-engineer Alec Greeny, writer Maddie LoCicero, and associate producer, writer, and announcer William Kennedy. You're listening to New Revolutionary Radio, your call to action.